Hello, everyone. It continues to be frigid and bitter cold here in the Rocky Mountains. We had the coldest night of the winter, and so I thought maybe I would make a video to show you how the greenhouses fared and talk to you about some of the reasons why I am obsessed with greenhouses and love them so much. And I think everybody needs a geothermal greenhouse. I wanted to invite you to come and hang out in my greenhouses with me while we talk about what could be possible for you at your house to have a geothermal greenhouse and why they matter so much, why they're so helpful. So let's go. This is one of my smaller greenhouses, and these are baby carrots that I planted from seed a few weeks ago in December. I'm not sure what day, and there's also some lamb's quarter in there that planted itself, and um, so I was just watering that greenhouse, and this is a different greenhouse, but I wanted to talk about why I was watering that greenhouse because I get asked, I had someone touring my greenhouses yesterday, one of the people I'm designing a greenhouse for them, and they came, it's actually two different families. On one tour, I'm designing greenhouses for both of them, and they came and toured all of my greenhouses, and they were asking me about the watering schedule. How often do you water the greenhouses? Well, in the winter, the watering schedule depends entirely on how much sun there is. The more cloudy days there are, the less the greenhouses need watering. And of course, the greenhouses need less watering in the winter just because the temperatures are colder even inside the greenhouse. This is my mini greenhouse. They're all geothermal greenhouses. They're heated entirely by the heat of the earth and the heat of the sun and nothing else. So, I use watering cans to water all of my greenhouses. They were asking me if there's a drip system. And there's a couple of reasons why I don't use drip systems in my greenhouse, actually several reasons. So I thought maybe I should go over that with you guys. I use watering cans because different grow boxes of plants need water at different times. They don't all necessarily need the same amount of water at the same time. So that's one reason why I use a watering can. Another reason is that we are in the high Rocky Mountain desert. I'm at 5,200 feet in the Rocky Mountain West in the United States, and we have no humidity to speak of in our air. It's very dry in the winter, in the summer, all year round. It is very dry here. And so we have to be very conservative of water. And so I water only as necessary. And in my particular, in my particular situation, I have to be careful with the water, especially right now because it's January 2025 and we are basically out of water. In fact, I was outside working on building my 10th greenhouse all afternoon today, and my wife came out, and when she came out, I was drilling holes in the buckets of ice water that I had collected off the roof of one of the greenhouses. And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm out of water in all the greenhouses, so I'm trying to get these chunks of ice to see if I can, because these are big 27-gallon totes filled with water that has collected off the roof, and they are frozen solid. They're 15 inches deep. They're frozen solid. That's how cold it has been here. And it has been like that for days. And so I was drilling holes in it, trying to see if I could break it into pieces so I could take chunks of it into the greenhouse to melt, because there's no water left in the greenhouses, because we are in a constant drought, because we live in the very high desert. So my situation is, different than other people's situation, but wherever you live, if you have a winter period where you don't are not able to grow a lot of things, then a geothermal greenhouse is going to be something that would benefit you if you love to garden. I, when I married my wife, I moved from we still live in the same valley, but I moved from down in the valley to up on the rock on the bench of the mountain. And where I used to live, there was 120 to 130-day growing season, and where I live now, I am lucky to have 90-day growing season. And by growing season, I mean frost-free days. I'm lucky to have 90 frost-free days. And that's how I got started in all of this with the geothermal greenhouses, because it was really hard for me to move from 130-day growing season to a 90-day growing season, and I just felt like there were so many things that I could not grow, and I already thought 130 days was way too short of a season. you know and yeah, I don't know, it was that my old location was probably 4,500 feet, and I moved from 4,500 feet above sea level to 5,200 feet above sea level. And my microclimate is challenging because I live next to a river. The river, well, what we call a river here in the desert is really a little tiny creek, but I live next to this creek, and it comes straight down out of the high mountain, from the snow melt there about 13,000 feet above sea level, and it is about 150 feet from my front door, and then just about one or two houses down from me, that creek takes a sharp 90-degree turn. And so all of that cold air that is constantly coming out of the high mountains all year round piles up at my house. And so I have a challenging microclimate. So even on my street, our end of the street, because we live right at this 90-degree turn and that cold air piles up on us all year round, we're the last people in the whole town to have our lilacs bloom, to have our tulips bloom, to have our daffodils bloom, to have our trees leaf out. We're just the last ones all the time because I have a challenging microclimate. So these are all the reasons why I got involved in a geothermal greenhouse. And I love being able to grow 365 days a year. And I think most of you who are watching this channel, I'm going to guess that you're probably interested in having a geothermal greenhouse because you want to extend your growing season. They used to say that if you had $1 to spend on your garden, then you should spend 90 cents of that dollar on improving your soil. And I can tell you that there is no better way to improve any soil than to put it inside a geothermal greenhouse, because then you go from being able to grow during the spring and the summer to going to where you can grow 365 days a year, and you can have constant access to fresh food. And I wish you all could. I should have taken photos, but I did not. My wife and I had a salad for lunch today out of the greenhouse. I picked it fresh out of the greenhouse and brought it in the house, and we had salad, and it was so good. It was so delicious. And it's the 29th day of January in 2025. And I don't know, it had probably 10 different vegetables in it. It had regular spinach in it. It had common spinach in it. It had New Zealand spinach in it. It had nasturtium leaves in it. It had miner's lettuce in it. It had celery in it. I'm trying to remember all the things that it had in it. I can't remember everything that I picked. Probably some chickweed. I don't know. It did not have any lettuce in it because right at this moment, I don't have any lettuce in the greenhouse because the lettuce has gone to seed for the year because it's astronomical spring in the greenhouse. And so I have ripped out all the mature lettuce that was going to seed, and I have little baby lettuces growing, but they're not going to be ready to harvest until around Valentine's Day. So, if you are thinking about having a geothermal greenhouse, then this is just one of the benefits is that you don't have to worry. I mean, it's a much cheaper. And my greenhouses are the cheapest greenhouses you can build or buy. I mean, I don't sell a kit or anything. My greenhouses are all made out of stuff that you can get at the hardware store. I designed greenhouses, and all of the things, almost everything that you need for the greenhouse just comes from your local hardware store. The point of having one of these greenhouses is to have it pay you because the price of food is increasing, as we all know, and the flavor is decreasing in the grocery store, and being able to harvest fresh out of the greenhouse 365 days a year is just something that is um, financially beneficial. It's good for my health. It's also good for my mental health. I should probably explain before we go too far in this video what I'm doing in this footage that you're watching right now. This is my hot soil type geothermal greenhouse. This is and there's another tour of this greenhouse on this channel if you want to watch it. But because it is January, it is time to do propagation. So in this video, what I'm actually doing is preparing cuttings of mulberries and quince trees. And you might be able to see up on the shelf there, I've got several hundred, probably 300 propagations of all kinds of different things. Elderberry, I mean, I don't know, blackberries, mulberries, elderberries, figs, grapes. I'm trying to think of what else is there. But I ordered off of a couple sites some starts of elderberry, or not elderberries, mulberries that I don't have at my house because I want to test them for our elevation. So that's what you're watching me do right now. And this can only be done in a hot greenhouse because it takes months for these cuttings to grow roots, and not everything grows roots. A lot of fruit trees like peaches and pears and apples and nectarines are very, very reluctant to start from cuttings, but there are some things that grow pretty well from cuttings, like blackberries and elderberries and grapes and roses, and I've got all of those going on. Lilacs. I still need to do my honeysuckle, and I'm going to this week, probably tomorrow, I'm going to do my hazelnuts. And then my friend told me today that he's going to give me that I can come to his house and get some cuttings off of his hops vines and start those. And so it's just that time of year where I'm doing a lot of propagations, and it's really nice. In this footage, you can see me. All those cuttings have to be trimmed, and they have to be treated in a certain way in order for them to, and then and moistened, and they have to have a certain humidity level, and they can't be in the direct sunlight. Anyway, I'm not here to teach you how to do propagations, but I'm just saying it's so nice to sit out, even though it is bitter cold outside. It's so nice to go sit in the greenhouse and be able to work in the greenhouse in this weather. I think for me, that is a real benefit of having geothermal greenhouses, is just to sit and luxuriate in the warmth, because the warmth in the greenhouse is not like the warmth in the house from the furnace. It's real warmth. It's steady, and there is some humidity in the greenhouse, and so it's just so pleasant to be out there and to be working. We had, so I mentioned already that it was 2 degrees below zero here. That's the coldest that it has been this winter, and according to the forecast, it's most likely the coldest it's going to be this winter. So I think we have had the coldest night of winter for this winter. And um, the temperature outside had been in the mid to low 30s, and then we had 6 straight days where it never got above freezing, night or day. So 6 days without it ever getting above freezing. And then we had one day where it got to be 33 degrees, and then a couple of days where it went below freezing 24 hours a day again. And then we had a day or two where it went up to 33 degrees again, and then it went below freezing again. And then today, the 29th of January, it got to 37 degrees and it was sunny. So, where we live, I was talking to my neighbor this afternoon and I said, "Oh my word, it's so nice, even though it's 37 degrees, when it's been below freezing 24 hours a day for almost 2 weeks in a row. Having a one day with sun and 37 degrees is like a rebirth. It's like a miracle." It's so exciting. And we agreed that, and she was out, she had her dogs out in her backyard, and we just agreed that it was so nice to have some warmer weather, even though what we consider warmer weather is probably what the rest of the country would consider to be freezing cold. But I was excited to have 37 degrees. Of course, it's not 37 degrees in the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, it's 85 degrees. And, I don't need a coat, I don't need a hat, I don't need gloves. And oh, look in the greenhouse, so you can see that we've got baby plants sprouting. Me and my friends were just planting these seeds about a week ago, 10 days ago, and they've already started to sprout. This is a different greenhouse. So far in this video, I think you've been in 4 of my greenhouses. This is also a hot soil type of greenhouse, and if you want a full video tour of this greenhouse, there's tours available on this channel. And you can see even in that photo, or in that little bit of video that I just showed you, you could see, and right there you can see that when the sun comes out, it gets dry. And that's one of the challenges. Not only am I running out of water, but then it gets warm in the greenhouse, and I have to keep the surface wet because the seeds can't germinate if the surface of the soil is not wet. And I planted one of my cold soil greenhouses about 3 weeks ago. I planted a bunch of seeds in there, and now I've just run out of water in that greenhouse, so I don't know if they're going to sprout or not, because I watered them once. I haven't been able to water them since because there's been no water to water them with. If you live at 5,200 feet like we do, then in the winter there is no outside water. There's no tap that you can turn on. There's no hose. Everything is frozen solid. You can't even put a hose outside because everything is frozen solid. My greenhouses all passively collect water from the roof, but the drought has returned. We had 7 years of drought. There's me breaking a little bit of ice in my greenhouse. The drought has returned. We had drought for 7 straight years, and then we had 2 years of no drought, and then now the drought has returned again. And so we've only, probably this whole winter, we've only had, I don't know, maybe 12 or 16 inches of snow on my property. And that snow, because it does not rain here in the summer, and that snow is where, and the snow at 13,000 feet is how we get our water for drinking and irrigation and everything in the summer. So anyway, it's very dry here, but I'm still eating out of the greenhouse every day. That's the benefit of having a geothermal greenhouse. Mother Nature is unpredictable. There's strong winds here, and sometimes there's 4 feet of snow. Sometimes we've had some years we have a lot of snow, and some years we have no snow, and some years we have very little snow. And so having a geothermal greenhouse just allows me to grow 365 days a year without having to worry about what Mother Nature is doing all the time, because she's kind of fickle. And normally we wouldn't be able to eat any fresh greens or fresh this. That's a turnip right there. That's Texel greens, which was part of our salad that we had for lunch today. If you guys would like me to make a video about a planting schedule for the geothermal greenhouse for the full year or in the winter or something like that, or if you would like to know what are the best varieties for growing in the greenhouse, or let me know what information you're interested in. And then, of course, if you would like me to design a greenhouse for you that is guaranteed to grow 365 days a year, then just reach out. I'm happy to help because I think everybody should have a geothermal greenhouse. Here are my books, which are available on Amazon and wherever fine books are sold. Um, and then I'll put the information at the end of the video here, right there, ta-da! So in case you want information about how I can help you with a greenhouse design, then I'm happy to do that. And I appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.